Today I'm contemplating the impossible dream. What is an impossible dream? You might consider this a little mini lesson in how to create everyday miracles. And it is simply getting in touch with the part of you that loves to defy logic. And if you can learn to bypass what we call conventional thinking, you can do what once seemed impossible. So, if you're interested in the impossible dream, maybe I can help you understand what that is. So stick around. In order to understand what I mean by the impossible dream, you'll need to pay attention to the part of you that wants wordlessly. And we'll go back to one of the most basic human wants: hunger. Now, when you are hungry, do you need to say to yourself, "I hunger"? Or does the hunger build in you? Even a baby knows it's hungry, but it doesn't know how to say, "I'm hungry" yet. What it does is go, "Wah." It translates that truth into a vibration. And so we live in a world where the vibration, the speech, the symbol of hunger, which is "wah," is confused for the real deal. Now, if we examine hunger as a feeling, a raw, intuitive truth, what happens is you get a little, it's a feeling, I need to eat something. That feeling, I need to eat something, is wordless. And so the body, the salivary glands, the olfactory system, everything starts to moisten and get ready and receive it. So you even know if you are craving a snack or a full meal, you even know that you want maybe something sweet or salty or savory. You even know how to satisfy that. And all that comes to you without the mind having to say, "I'm hungry and I want something sweet." Although many of us do translate our deepest bodily urges into words. Now, you can also get into your digestive process, whereby you have to pee or poo. You know the difference between those two things, and you don't need to say to yourself, "I have to pee." You know you have to pee. "I have to pee" is a symbol for peeing, right? So in those basic, what we call instincts, we know what to do. And that's what happens to us on a deep intuitive level. You have a dream. Now, where this gets complicated is that we do not know the difference between a dream and a craving. A deep desire is something that sits deeply in you like hunger, you see? And it keeps kind of keeps coming back like hunger. And it might begin as a stirring, and then the mind sort of follows up with an image as to what to do. Now, we have two seemingly conflicting areas of thought. We have the mind, which is your logical system, which paints schematics and looks at evidence and takes in all the considerations. It's a tool to help you navigate the surface world. And it's quite useful. However, at a deeper level, we're yearning for something that you really want. This is what you would call your heart's desires. And a lot of people can't understand their heart's desires because their mind is craving. Their mind is stuck on a loop of what's possible in the physical world. They look for evidence before I can do this. This is what's possible with what I have. And that's fine. Those people are thinking realistically. However, if you want to be a creative person, you're going to have to get in touch with a part of you that does not think in words, in the same way that there's a part of you that hungers with no words, thirsts with no words. So you'd call this your heart's desires, yearns for something that doesn't seem logical to your mind. So you might be conflicted there because the mind can't see a possible way to do it. And that's the impossible dream. The mind, your mind can't figure that one out. But your heart's desire seems to have something that doesn't make sense. How can I want this when I can't afford it? How can I want this when it's not even in existence, when I don't have the resources? Well, this is how miracles are born. This is how the phoenix rises out of the ashes. Senselessly. So we have been conditioned by society or our parents or our own minds to think conventionally. This is how billion-dollar ideas are born out of poverty. That's the impossible dream. It's the whole story of J.K. Rowling writing Harry Potter whilst on welfare. We have seen that and seen that and seen that, and that's the impossible dream. Somebody on welfare has no business writing a novel. And this is what happens. You begin to abandon logic. The impossible dreamer is the one who creates a billion-dollar idea out of a depression. Like an economic depression, there comes a billion-dollar idea. And everybody's marveling. How could you do that? How can J.K. Rowling sit down and pen Harry Potter when she has no money to rub together? How can old Mother Hubbard go to the cupboard and see that it's bone dry and sit down and paint a lovely painting? That's the illogical. That's surpassing the part of you that thinks it has to have everything before any kind of fulfilling desire springs forth. So, desire is unwavering at that level. The desire of your heart's desire. And so we get into this confusing mindset. And you go to church and you listen to your minister or your rabbi or something, and you have to discern God's will. And everybody's talking about God's will. Thy will be done. And so we think we're going to find God's will in the Bible. We think we're going to find God's will from our guru and our minister. And what should I do? And we're going to find God's will in the Ten Commandments. But it doesn't really jive with our desire. And so we have a conflict. Is God's will out there? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Am I supposed to listen to my minister or my rabbi or my guru? Or is it my will? What does God want for my life? That is the most confusing thing, because it sounds like I'm supposed to listen to some other sinister force out there, including my own mind. It is not until you pay attention to your will, your desires. I don't care how illogical, unreasonable, childish they seem. I don't have the money for that. I don't have the skill for that. I don't have the patience for that, says the logic. But deep down inside, you have these things that you want. It might not be material things. It might be something as simple as, I'd love to do something that I love to do and get paid oodles of money for it. How does one do that? That seems impossible to conventional thinking. You see, you're going to navigate your life and try to think realistically. But that part of you that has a impossible dream laughs at realistic, conventional thinking and conformity. You're going to feel like, if you're going to be an impossible dreamer, you're going to feel like you are launching out into the wilderness on your own. And you're going to go so deep into it. You're going to get so into the thick darkness. You're going to begin doubting whether or not you still want this so-called impossible dream. And so you got to check in with your commander-in-chief. And your commander-in-chief is your heart's desires. How do we do that? Well, first of all, we have to stop. We have to put down the phone. Stop searching for what you want by letting the algorithms feed your mind. I hope you searched for this video. If this video found you on accident, fine. From now on, be intentional when you go on YouTube and search for what you want. Don't let YouTube feed you. Don't let social media feed you. In my day, we didn't have that. When you went to the library, you have to know what you were looking for. You can go around and, if you wanted to, you could browse the stacks. But it was so much information, it didn't seem like it would have been worth your time. You had to know exactly what you were looking for in the library. Now, we have technology that just feeds us and feeds us and feeds us, and nobody knows what they want. They don't know what to look for. They don't use YouTube as a tool. They don't use social media as a tool. They don't use the internet as a tool. They don't think, do I really want to sit here and let this feed me? I want to tell YouTube what I'm hungry for. I want to tell my phone what I'm hungry to look for. I want to look for the information intentionally. So, what do you want? That is the big question. Before you start searching for anything, search for your deepest desire. What do you want, even if it's a ham sandwich? Okay, great. That's a good start. I want a ham sandwich, but I don't have any ham. I don't have any bread. That's okay. I still want it. I want I want a bicycle, and I don't have any money to buy a bicycle. That's okay. That's the impossible dream. That you want something, and you come back and you check in with it, and it's still there, and you look at your bank account, and you look at everywhere. None of it seems to make any sense. Logic is nonsensical to the part of you that still desires. And again, you have to understand the difference between a craving and a real desire. A craving is an empty wanting. Just want more and more and more and more. A desire is something that you come back to. And you say, do I really want this? Yeah, I really want this. I still want it. And then your mind starts scanning around, looking for it, checking the bank account, and trying to tell you, you don't have enough money, you're too old, this is not going to work. But that part of you that still desires, it's settled. It's a deep vertical dive into what you want. And you do not waver from that. So Neville Goddard used to always talk about the imagination is God. He's talking about desire. The imagination is in the gut, not in the brain per se. The gut gives you that urge, that yearning. The mind is a tool. And you can think of the mind as feeding you and feeding you and feeding you algorithms, just conventional thinking. That's all it knows. It's like being on social media. It's a condition. You have to search your soul to know what you want. You have to start practicing using the internet as a tool and using your mind as a tool. And the mind is a slave. The mind is a slave to you. You are not a slave to it. What you are a slave to is your deep desire. You will serve that. That's your master. Jesus was always talking about serving two masters. And we're confused. We think the master is conventional thinking, logic. This doesn't make any sense by logical standards. Bypass that. Go right to the master planner. That's your desire, your imagination, your deepest wants. Check in. I do my daily check-in with the master. What does my friend Amanda calls it? The boss, her boss. It's that intuitive sense. I still want this. I want this, and I want this, and I want this. Do you still want it? Yes. Do you still want it? Yes. And eventually, that becomes so true, so confirming, and so real that logic gives up. The mind gives up trying to figure you out. And then you become a master to the mind and a servant to the master, the imagination, your heart's desires. And that's how you create a miracle. You defy logic. You rebel against logic. You do not conform to what people are telling you. You do not conform to what your circumstances seem to be leading you to. You merely serve that desire. And it always seems to go against logic. And the more you commit to that deep desire, the more miracles you make. And you're the one with $1 billion idea when everybody else is scratching their head wondering, how? We're in a depression. The economy's bad. How did you come up with that? The depression doesn't apply to me. Logic doesn't apply to me. I'm going to write a novel when I'm on welfare. I'm going to paint a picture when the cupboard is bare. I'm going to play a game when there's no food in the kitchen. That doesn't make any sense to anybody. But the real creative master, the one that bypasses logic, then you've tapped into the deeper mind, the mind of your mind. And that's how you work miracles. And it looks risky to everybody else. You look like you're taking risk because some people believe that life is risky and life is a gamble. But to the person who's convicted by their own desire, it's not risky. It's a sure thing. So, the impossible dreamer becomes a sure thing. And you get excited about your dreams. And you say thank you to the master, which is you, for coming up with such a great plan. A planless plan. An illogical plan. one that takes you directly to what you desire in an illogical way. There's the impossible dream. Are you one of those people? If you are, keep watching my channel and I'll guide you through. My name is Ryan Hebert, and I hope you enjoyed these insights. Please check out my blog, mymorningmotivator.com.